Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Why LeBron James is not a top 10 player, and maybe not even a top 25 player when we look at it. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys. This don't come out of hate. This comes out of facts. And I can tell you right now, when I start getting into this thing is when I was on these Facebook sports debate groups and I saw them just dissing the hell out of Michael Jordan. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, really? Because Michael Jordan is regarded as the greatest sports player of all time, hands down. Nobody's even close, really. He's like in a league all by himself. So when I saw them kind of dissing Michael Jordan over LeBron James, I was just kind of like, wow, this is crazy. And the things were that they was dissing on him about, it was basically the angle that Nick Wright comes at, Shannon Sharp comes at. These type of guys, it's really not serious what they're saying. It's really not. It's comical what they're saying. Because if it was serious about what they were saying, well, you could say, well, look what LeBron James did. That's 10 times worse. So they had to start making or sliding Michael Jordan comical, right? It's stuff that only, maybe 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 21-year-olds would actually buy into. It makes no sense. You got to be comical with his debate. And when I say comical, I don't always mean funny. I mean like stupid funny. It's stuff, comical as far as it doesn't make no sense. Like you're laughing at Nick Wright or Shannon Sharp saying, you're just laughing. You're like, what? You can't make a debate against Michael Jordan, but at the same time, you're destroying LeBron James. Because if Michael Jordan didn't do this or couldn't do that or did this wrong to make him not the GOAT, LeBron James 10 times couldn't do it or did it wrong. It doesn't make any sense, folks. So once I start getting into the numbers, because I really never got into LeBron's numbers, right? And once you start getting into them, you're like, wow. And you, not only his numbers, but into his entire career. You start looking at it and you say, this thing has been a joke on the public, folks. His career, his legacy, ESPN, as far as the way they talk about him, Fox Sports, the debate groups, or the debate, whatever you want to call them, that comes on Fox and ESPN, these debate shows, it's been a joke, folks. They have made millions, if not billions of dollars off of something that is the biggest joke in sports history, folks. And this is why you almost can't even blame LeBron James. The sports media since 2012 have taken off with this thing and made all this money off of it. And now YouTube channels have made money off of this, and a lot of people have got rich off of something that doesn't exist. It's fake. So in a way, you can't even blame LeBron James. In the things he says, the things he does, because he knew for his debate, it was over in 2007, folks. And we can even go all the way back when he came into the league and he couldn't even step on the floor in the Olympics, folks, as they got destroyed by Manu Ginobili in a 6-man Manu Ginobili and some Argentinian plumbers. Wow, folks. Don't give me nothing about this guy. Just came out of high school. He was the most hype player of all time with the most expectations. And the players by time then are supposed to be getting better than past eras in some way. So no doubt, Kobe Bryant was the biggest thing. I think the biggest player coming out of high school going into the NBA ever. Where did he had to go? Straight to the bench. Because it was a tougher era. But he didn't come into the league disrespecting disrespecting the present players by calling himself the king coming out of high school. The chosen one. All this crap. So yeah, we can track it back to 2004, 2006, when, come on, muscles up. In the FIBA, you're coming out 30 points per game. In the season, you got Dwayne Wade coming off a championship. Carmelo Anthony doing his thing. All these dudes, and they get destroyed by grease sewer workers. They don't even get the silver medal, folks. So what I'm trying to say is, we can say it was 2007, but it really wasn't, folks. We could say he didn't make the playoffs his first two seasons. Second season, that he didn't make the playoffs with an all-star teammate. Have we ever heard anything like that? They will be killing Michael Jordan to this day. If anybody told you Michael Jordan had an all-star teammate his second season and didn't make the playoffs, where's the smoke for LeBron James? Nothing, folks. Lost 19 out of 31 games after the all-star break in the weakest East since the 1950s. So we can track it back to 2007, where we could say his GOAT debate was over then when he melted down in the finals. No, he didn't choke. He wasn't supposed to win, folks. But when we go back and look at it, it was the weakest East of all time. This guy makes the finals after only being in the playoffs one time. And before that, he missed the playoffs 2 times in a row. So you're in the finals after only making the playoffs one time, and you make the finals with no all-star teammate, Hall of Fame teammate, no All-NBA, no All-NBA defensive teammate, all these things, and you make the finals? In what era can a superstar do that? So when they say he had no help, folks, he basically didn't. When we look at other superstars that made it to the finals, they all had help because they had to play great competition to make it to the finals. LeBron James didn't. So it was an equal thing. The East was weak, and that's why he made it there. He didn't make it there because he was playing great competition. Even the teams that he played, 2 of them was 500-win teams until he got to the finals, and they said, we don't respect your game. And we don't respect your team. We don't respect your team because you played nobody to get here. We're going to destroy you. We don't respect your game because you can't shoot 3. You can't shoot the mid-range. You can't shoot free throws. You're a fake Magic Johnson. And you gave them almost 6 turnovers per game. It's all fake. You ain't got no post work. We don't respect you. 4-0 sweep, folks. So we're going to get into this, folks. Yeah, so his GOAT debate was over but what I'm trying to tell you is, when I start getting into this guy's numbers, that's why I try to say, this is a joke. And this is probably why they called him the chosen one, right? And the king, because whatever he did, it didn't matter. In 2012, all the way up until 2012, from 2007 to 2012, they were begging this dude to be a winner, to be clutch, to be a leader, to do things right. You just move on to somebody else. By the time he can't do it by 2012, before he won his first championship, you should have moved on to somebody else. This was not the guy when you look at his resume from 2000, when he came in the league, until 2011, folks. Nobody had a worse resume as a superstar than this guy, but they was continuing on with this guy. Why? Because he can do dunks and layups going down the lane? Not a good free throw shooter, not a good mid-range or 3, or give you any paint work, or really a leader by the things he says, the way his actions on the court, his turnover game, everything, folks. Why did they have to keep harping on this guy? What is his bloodline? That's what we got to start to ask. What is this guy's bloodline? Because when you start to do genealogy, black people, they have royalty bloodline. I'm not going to get into that from Europe. I won't get into that, but it's the reason why this guy called himself King James, the king. So we got to ask ourselves, what is it with this guy that they love so much, the media? Because you have turned a loser into a winner. You have turned a guy with the least amount of skills in the top 25 into this guy that's an all-time great skill player. It doesn't exist. So when we look at Michael, I'm just doing a rundown, and then you guys can do the rundown for the rest of the top 25. So when we look at Michael Jordan, what does he have that Michael Jordan, or well, let's just say it this way, how is he better than Michael Jordan? And you can't really use championships because that's not what the LeBron fans want, right? They only want to use championships and finals MVPs and MVPs when it's convenient for them against other players. But you can't use that on LeBron James when it comes to Michael Jordan and maybe Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I got to ask you, I'm just saying, what makes this guy better? Is he a better player? Let's just say player. Can he shoot free throws better than Michael Jordan? Nope. Is he more clutch than Michael Jordan? Nope. Is he a better leader than Michael Jordan? Nope. Is he a better defender than Michael Jordan? Nope. Is he a better shooter overall than Michael Jordan? When we put mid-range, post, three-pointer, the type of shots, pump fakes in the air, fadeaways, going to the basket, double clutching over big men. No, folks, he's not a better player than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was so much of a better finisher than LeBron James that you even forget how good of a shooter this guy was. You actually have to watch this guy's games, or you have to put on, Michael Jordan's fadeaway, Michael Jordan's mid-range shots, or Michael Jordan's shooting to get a better idea of it if you wasn't back then. You wasn't there back then, because his going to the basket is 10 times more crazier and better than LeBron James. And we already know, because Michael Jordan had to double clutch, pump fake, do all this crazy stuff to get crazy shots off amongst all-time great big men. He didn't use a stiff arm coming down the lane, hitting people in the head, the chest, the stomach, the mouth, and swinging elbows to get his shot. So we know he's not better than Michael Jordan. So we got to ask ourselves, how is he number 2 in all these outlets? Fadeaway, ESPN, Fox, CBS, all these people always seem to have this guy number 2. I'll ask the same question. For Kareem, is he a better defender than Kareem? Hell no. Block shots? Defensive teams? Not even close. At his position? Not even close. A better offensive player than Kareem? Not even close, folks. He's not. He's not. A better winner than Kareem? No. A better clutch player than Kareem? Nope. Better two-way player than Kareem? Nope. Let's go to Bill Russell. What about Bill Russell? Maybe a better offensive player? Yes. Nowhere in the stratosphere of the leader, the defensive player, than Bill Russell. Nowhere. You will not put LeBron James on those Celtics teams and win. No way. Magic Johnson. We always say, oh, you like Magic Johnson, man. LeBron like Magic Johnson. So LeBron gave you 10 plus assists a game amongst great power forwards, all-time great centers, all-time great small forwards, all-time great guards, coming down the lane, really making these incredible plays, could give you a post-up game like Magic Johnson, can shoot from the floor 50% plus all of his career, 80+% from the line all of his career, clutch shots in the NBA Finals, winning 2 MVPs, playing with Kareem, in 3 Finals MVPs playing with Kareem, and winning an MVP after Kareem left. And probably a better defensive player, I would say. At least Magic had 2 steals titles. Yes, he ain't make no defensive teams, but that just goes to his era when we look at the guys that made it over him. What about Wilt Chamberlain? Do we even have to talk about this? Are you crazy? Not a better offensive player, not a better defender. It would be a joke. That's why when they try to put Wilt Chamberlain in some instances, well, for most of them, at number 6, wow. Wilt's at numbers. Get out of here, folks. Behind LeBron James, what on defense or offense? How is Wilt Chamberlain less than LeBron James? Don't give me no championships because you don't want to use that, LeBron fans. You don't want to use it. Or MVPs or Finals MVPs. You don't want to use that. Remember, it ain't about that. That's what you say all the time. And we'll talk about that in a minute. What about Larry Bird? Larry Bird. So is free throw shooting, 3-point shooting, mid-range shooting, even paint work, LeBron James ain't better. Or a leader. LeBron James ain't better than Larry Bird. And if you want to say defender, whatever. You can have it if you think LeBron James is a better defender in a soft, weak era. Go ahead. But most of us know that's not true. Definitely not a better leader if I didn't say that. There's nothing. You would not take LeBron James over Larry Bird. Larry Bird hustles. LeBron James doesn't. What about Tim Duncan? Not a better two-way player than Tim Duncan. Not a better leader. Duncan can shoot the mid-range better than LeBron James. He can give you better paint work. Not even, we won't even talk about defending. That's ridiculous. Tim Duncan? I would say they're both horrible free throw shooters, but Tim Duncan he's a center. What's LeBron James' excuse? You're not better than Tim Duncan. What about Shaq? I don't think he's better than Shaq. I don't think he's better than Shaq. I think Shaq's a better defender. I think Shaq, for his position, is a better offensive player than LeBron James for his position. I just do. And nobody would take LeBron James over Shaq. Kobe Bryant. What do we talk about? One of the greatest two-way players of all time. Kobe better on offense and defense across the board. We don't have to talk about what. So the top 10 that we just seen, how did these guys, it don't matter how you want to rank them, how is LeBron James better than these guys? And when did these guys run around their entire career building super teams just to win their championships? In their prime. None of them. None of them. None of them, folks. They didn't leave their homes to go build super teams. And as far as skill set that we're talking about, that to me doesn't put LeBron James over these guys, we can go down the line more. We can go to Karl Malone. To me, a better offensive player and a better defender. What about Jerry West? A better defender and a better offensive player. Charles Barkley, better offensive player. I would say he's slightly better than LeBron James on defense, and that's just because the era that he played in. Why he couldn't make these defensive teams. And Charles Barkley, I just would take him, man. He's a better shooter. He shoots a higher percentage for the forward position. A way better rebounder. Has more heart, more grit, more toughness, everything. So we could just go on down the line and talk about these guys, how they're better. They got better all-time skill sets at their positions. The Oscar Robertsons, these guys like that didn't have to, build super teams all their career and battled against all-time great big men as far as centers and power forwards, and battled against all-time small forwards and all-time great guards. And they didn't play in a no-touch era. And they didn't play with the second best player in their conference. They didn't get to do that, folks. Just because they lost. How many players can you see on this that had the number one seed in the NBA 2 years in a row with the MVP on top of that? Had home court advantage 2 years in a row and lost to a 3 and 4 seed. Who was that? I'm not sure. Who built a super team and got 1-2 MVPs in a row? Also, let's think about this. When we look at LeBron James 27, 7, and 7, basically all of his career, it's a premeditated stat. It's a stat that he has to get basically over winning. Right? His stat line has basically stayed 27, 7, and 7. No great all-time player out of their prime has produced the same numbers across the board as when they got older. So what that tells you is that this guy was concerned more about stats than even winning. Even when he got these super teams, it was 27, 7, and 7. And that's why he lost a lot. That's why he's been losing a lot, because he's going to get his 27, 7, and 7 regardless if he wins or if he loses. Even look at the super teams. It had to stay at 27, 7, and 7. How do you continue with a super team to get 27, 7, and 7? It would seem like your numbers will go down with super teams. It wouldn't stay the same because you got a super team. You got the top 5, top 8, top 10 players in the league, in your conference, on your team. So to me, it just don't seem no way that he could produce the same numbers with the super team. It just doesn't, folks. So let's look at the 27, 7, and 7. Because it's not all that great when you think about it. Right? 27, when we talk about good, great, and upper echelon stats, right? When we look at 27 points per game, I would say it's great, but it's not upper echelon. Right? When we look at the rebounds, I would say it's good. It's not great. And it's not upper echelon when we talk about the great rebounders. To me, you would have to at least average 8 to 9, maybe 9 to be great. Upper echelon is 10 plus. And when you get out rebounded by Larry Bird, a guy who can barely jump off the floor, this is all will and all skill to get these rebounds. Karl Malone averaged more, Charles Barkley averaged more, and we will look at guys at their position, to me, who average great rebounds for their position. Your Jason Kidds, your Michael Jordans, your Clyde Drexlers, guys like this. So he's not, LeBron James isn't even in that great to upper echelon as far as rebounding for his position or out of his position. When we look at players like, when we look at the 10 assists, it's good, it's not great, and it's not upper echelon. To me, great would be maybe 8 to 9. Upper echelon is 10 plus. It's 10 plus. So he's not a better all-time great or better rebounder than Bill Russell, Kareem, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Wilt, or Shaq. Now, he might be a better assist guy than these guys. And some people question Larry Bird. They don't think he's a better assist guy than Larry Bird. Just because the era that Larry Bird played in, he's not a better passer than Magic Johnson, of course. So he's not in that great or upper echelon passer like Chris Paul, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Magic Johnson, and some of these other guys. So what I'm trying to say is, he's really, when we look at 27 points per game, when we talk about a guy like Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant, their points did come off of dunks and layups. So I just wanted to mention that his stat line has always stayed the same. The majority of these guys, once they went out their prime, their stat lines went down. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because you're out of your prime. And most of these guys weren't taking stats over winning when they got out of their prime. And we can talk about guys in the top 25 as a whole as far as their stat line. So LeBron James, he really doesn't deserve to be in the top 10 because he didn't go through the grind. Not even like Shaq. Shaq went through the grind to make it to the finals. His first finals, he didn't build a super team. That would be a joke. Yeah, he went to LA. That wasn't a super team when he went to LA. He went through the grind. He was getting beat by, when he went to LA. He was getting beat by Utah. He was getting beat by San Antonio. And then they finally came through when Kobe's skill set finally went to another level. Wilt Chamberlain didn't go play with Bill Russell. Tim Duncan made guys great. Your Tony Parkers, your Ginobilis. And they won as an organic team. So to me, again, guys, LeBron James knew his career was over a long time ago, and the media did, and all they could do was really try to make money off of a fraud. And they continue to make money off of fraud. In many of these YouTube channels that put LeBron James as a GOAT or number 2 or a top 10 player, it's just making money off of fraud. And it really has destroyed the NBA, that they never moved on to the next. And how they could have did that, they could have condemned his move to Miami. And Skip Bayless, although, he condemned, LeBron James a lot in the beginning when he was failing in 2009, 2010, even when he went to Miami, he was condemning LeBron James better than Michael Jordan. But he should have went further. He should have condemned him as what he did was an all-time fraudulent move. And we shouldn't even be talking about this guy for what? He's supposed to be winning with a super team with 3 top 10 players at the time in the league, and maybe top 4 in the East at the time. So why are we moving on or going forward? Not moving on, but why are we going forward to keep talking about this guy on ESPN? Because he could never be in that top 10 for what he did. It's just a joke, folks. And what he did really, not because he built a super team that ruined the NBA, but because of what the media did. They kept this thing going like what he did wasn't bad. And this is what he needed to do to win. Of course, that's what he needed to do to win. But why are we talking about him? We should be talking about the guys who did it right in the league at that time to try to win. And even though they couldn't win because he had a super team, those rings don't count. Why were we waking up every day listening to what LeBron is going to do, what he ain't going to do, what his teammates going to do, what he needs to win championships, what he needs to pass Michael Jordan? No, folks, his career was over. Not only the GOAT debate was over, and the top 10 comparison was over, and maybe the top 25 comparison was over when he went to Miami. And the Jordan comparison was over when he lost in 2009, 2010. And you can even rewind it back even further. So to me, it's ridiculous, man. They done destroyed the NBA over this one guy who couldn't come through organically. No other player has ever got that kind of leeway to do these type of things and still be talked about as an all-time great in the top 10, in the top 25. No other player got that. And they can't tell us why he was so great in those Cleveland years the first time doing dunks and layups. In a no-touch era with really no skill set. Horrible free throw shooter, horrible mid-range shooter, can't give you no paint work. An average defender at best. An average leader at best. Playing in the weak East, while all these other players in his era, whether he was in Cleveland the first time, going to Miami, or Cleveland the third time, or going to Cleveland the second time, these guys in the West was over there playing against the best players in the NBA. And we were talking about him playing in a weak East and not being able to get it done in the East, and then not being able to get it done with his super team in the finals, and them lying about his 27, 7, and 7 is better than all-time greats because they didn't average underwhelming rebounds. These are supposed to be your sports analysts. This is crazy. This is supposed to be your sports analyst on ESPN and Fox, and they never called out his 7 rebounds in his fake Magic Johnson 7 assists? In his 27 points that didn't come off of, great shooting from the 3 or the mid-range or giving you any paint work? What is this, folks? And then they got the nerve to put this guy in front of who? Michael Jordan at times, Larry Bird, period, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Bill Russell, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Will. You see, I can't do it, man. I already got my top 5. And not to mention, LeBron James lack of statistical titles. In front of all, this guy has less statistical titles than Dennis Rodman. Less than Hakeem, who has a way better skill set than LeBron James on offense, scoring points. In defense, Dwight Howard has more statistical titles. Did I say Dennis Rodman? What are we talking about? Kareem? Magic Johnson? Bill Russell? Wilt? What are we talking about? And we can leave the statistical titles out of there. We don't even have to put that up. But I'm just saying, in this weak, soft era, and they claim it's 27, 7, and 7, is so good. Where are all the statistical titles, folks? And that's why I told you from the beginning. His 27, 7, and 7 is premeditated. It don't matter if he wins championships. It don't matter if he wins statistical titles. That's all he wants is his 27, 7, and 7. Which means it disables his team. He has to get the most on his team. He has to get the most assists, the most rebounds, and the most points. And Michael Jordan, he's pretty much condemned for that, for doing it his first, 6, 7 seasons? And then when he let other players get more rebounds and assists, yeah, Pippen, yeah, he was an assist guy. He was a rebound guy. He had more than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had more assists and more rebounds and more steals than Scottie Pippen his first 3 seasons. But he saw, we're never going to win championships unless I let Scottie Pippen and other guys do their job, get more than me. That's just how it goes, folks.